thanks for everyone that had a role in the ceremony. I appreciate your work. And it's kind of great to be up here. It feels awesome. After watching so many Eagle Scouts from Troop 457, I'm now finally one of them, and I'm honored to be an Eagle Scout. So first, I want to start by saying thanks to my family. They should all be Eagle Scouts too, because they have been there to support me the entire way through. From helping me with my Bobcat badge to turning in my Eagle Scout application to the Jefferson office. There's no way I would be anywhere close to where I am now if they weren't there for me. And to all the Scoutmasters, Assistant Scoutmasters, and to the Scouts of Troop 457, thank you for the most fun that I've ever had in my life. I was the only Scout from My Bibelow's Den to cross over into 457. That decision was one of the best that I've ever made, and I can't think of a better group of people to have shared my time in Scouts with. The one thing that I can say I did the most in Scouting was fail. You might think it's strange to talk about all my failures at an event dedicated to my success. And to that I say, you're absolutely right. I'm just going to name a few. I forgot to bring breakfast for an overnight prep hike. I couldn't use a lighter for the candle ceremony. That's why we have matches now. I messed up a flag ceremony in front of lots of people. I left my Nalgene bottle at sea base. And last but not least, I scheduled my Eagle Board of Review for the wrong month. Okay, I think you get the point. But should all these failures be considered a bad thing? The truth is that every mistake you've made changes you in some way. You may not find success on your next try, but it's a step in the right direction. When Thomas Edison was asked how it felt to fail 800 times before getting the light bulb correct, he answered, "I didn't fail once. I learned 800 times what didn't work." Behind every success are many struggles. If you want to succeed, you should not be afraid to fail. Right now, I have a pretty unique perspective. I just achieved one of my goals I've been working on for 9 years, which is half my life. It feels like it all happened in the blink of an eye. But when you sit down, look at all the pictures and videos, which you will get to see later, I realize that all of it, every individual camp out, every canoe trip, and every cold, rainy night, was all part of one great adventure. Last summer, our troop had a crew of 12 people take on the adventure of a lifetime at Philmont Scout Ranch in New Mexico. We hiked 70 miles during the 11 days in the backcountry. I remember on our first day on the trail, after the bus dropped us off at the trailhead, looking up at the Araca Mesa, which we were about to climb. And after a couple hours of hiking uphill in the 90-degree heat, we started taking a lot of breaks. And during the breaks, the sound of the rocks crunching beneath your feet stops. And you take a moment and you can realize where you are. When we turned around, we could see the dirt road where the bus had once dropped us off just mere hours before. Even though we had over 68 miles to go, it was enough motivation to keep us going. At 4 a.m. on our third day, we got up early to see the sunrise at an appropriately named overlook called Inspiration Point. And as the sun rose over the high desert, we could see our next destination, the most prominent point on a far-away ridgeline called the Tooth of Time. In the 1800s, when the Santa Fe Trail was being traveled, the Tooth of Time meant that travelers had 2 weeks until they reached Santa Fe. Throughout the day, the tooth slowly became larger as we literally inched our way towards it. And after the most exhausting day of my entire life, filled with wrong turns, 50-pound packs, and the hardest trail I think all 12 of us can say we've ever done, we made it. The next morning, there I was on top of the Tooth of Time, 9,003 feet above sea level. The Tooth of Time has a 360-degree unblocked view, which is one of the best that I've ever seen. The best I've ever seen. And in the distance, I could see Inspiration Point, where I once stood the previous morning. If you ever need motivation, take a moment, stop what you're doing, and take a look behind you. And think about just how far you've come. See all the mountains that you climbed and memories that you made, and you will realize that you only have one choice: hike on.